Hello, 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 my darlings. Thank you for joining me on A Slice of Life, A Slice of Life. So I have good news and bad news. Let's go with the good news first. Did you watch, let me make sure I have my paper. You know I love my paper. Mitzi Copeland. You know her name? Do you know her name? You know Mitzi Copeland? Copeland? All right, so we talk about DEI. We don't want DEI. DEI. Well, we're still having firsts. And Mitzi Copeland is hanging up her pointed toe shoes as the first black female principal in the history, 75 years of the ballet, the American Ballet. Last night was her last night. And so we celebrate that because she was somebody that could not, they should not. All the reasons why we didn't want anybody to look like her besides the fact that she was black. But they said that she was muscular. She didn't look the part. Mainly, she was black. She was muscular. She had too much chest. Mainly, she was black. And so she was able to, she didn't start dancing until she was 13 years old. And a coach, a basketball coach, or somebody noticed her, a coach, I won't say which one, noticed her and thought she had something, there was something about her. And she started taking classes and she won contests, I guess the ballet contest, I'm not sure. But anyway, she made it to Broadway. She was a principal and people brought her flowers. Did you see where Oprah brought her flowers? I haven't done this right in 2 nights. When I lean up, I'm cut off. When I sit back, I'm good. Okay, that's right. Anyway, so kudos to you, Mr. Copeland. She has a 3-year-old son, and I saw somebody. He looked like he was emotional about it, but I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her sticking to. She said, "I can do this," and I tell you out there, you can do this. You can do that because let me tell you, I'm the one. I said that to myself when the one woman show. I'm forever grateful to the Absalom Center and for allowing me to do that one woman show, Absalom Jones Center for Racial Healing, and for the 2 people who just supported me 100%, and that was Sean Walker and L. Cornell Pearson. The both of them just really pressed me into that. And I'm just so happy I did it. You just have to make up your mind that you can do things and just go ahead and do it. And so, Mitzi Copeland, my hat's off to you, girl. Okay, let's talk about what I want to talk about. It has nothing, absolute, that, nothing to do with this. All right, so they're saying, it's a woman named, wait, let me get her name. If you go to TikTok, have you seen the woman named Everybody's Auntie? I don't like this. I got to sit back to talk. Anyway, she's Everybody's Auntie. That's the name of her handle is Everybody's Auntie. And she is talking about AIDS in Atlanta, HIV. And her information is not correct because I did a FACT, fact check. And so there is not, according to a July 2025 report of USAIDs, HIV is not on the rise globally, but she says it's on the rise in Atlanta. And she quoted some huge number that I checked, and nobody can find that number. And there's a rumor. I don't know whatever the rumor is, but it's enough for me to say where there's smoke, sometimes there's fire. And so we had all kind of weekends in Atlanta. We had we've had homecoming period in the AUC. And so tomorrow is homecoming. Tomorrow, Friday, we start homecoming at Clark Atlanta. We just finished homecoming at Spelman and Morehouse, Spellhouse, and Morris Brown was first. And people are having a great time. We want people to have a good time. And who am I to talk about this? But it just bothered me. And when things come to me, someone on the other side of the screen that needs it. So I say things for the person on the other side of the screen. So let's talk about HIV is on the rise. According to this woman, and she says there's 20,000 people tested in Atlanta for HIV. So if it's 20,000 or 20, it's still too many to be tested for HIV. That's too many. And so but I did hear there's a new HIV. And this one comes with a fungus and one that's not curable. And so what she's saying, what this woman is saying, that the rise in HIV cases are between the ages of 42, 43 to about 65, 63, 65. And the opposite of that is 16 to 18. So 16 to 18, they're just finding their way. And 45, which my age group on this show, 42 to 45 to 55, you making a way. You wanna we know what it's like. We all been in our 40s. And we know what it's like. You trying to meet somebody, trying to see somebody, trying to be with somebody, trying to have somebody, trying to turn over and look at somebody and look like a piece of candy to you. I got all that. Both ways. We talking about he turning over and you turn it over. But what they're saying in Atlanta is just don't turn it over without protection. If you're gone, then use protection. If you remember, I had some real good statistics on the senior high rise thing. It was out of hand. STD, out of hand. People people trying to get their groove on late in life. Well, you need to read the statistics. Mm-hmm. And late in life is not 45. That's not late in life. But late in life if the next largest number is 16, 17, and 18. And so I'm just saying to you, all of you that are out there having a good time, one of the things she talked about was people are just so down, people feeling depressed. People are not getting their food stamps. People have lost their jobs, government jobs. We got wars and rumors of wars, and just appears that things are not going as well as we would like them to go. This is another America, and one of the discussions that everybody's auntie made reference to, that people are just lost and they just want to do something so they get their groove on, and they get the groove on, and people are having fun and get it on without protection. And the next thing they know, they have a full blown. They have HIV, and it's not pretty. And then she talked about the 82%, and I meant to look this up. 82% of the men in Atlanta, she said, not the outskirts. She was talking about the city of Atlanta, are on the down low. And so I thought that was interesting. She didn't say down low. She said bisexual is what she said. And a lot of the moving of the germs are being moved through people being excited, being happy, getting the groove on, and using protection and down low or bisexual men. This is what this woman, everybody's auntie, said on TikTok. And so it just came to me that maybe, we don't know all this to be true. I looked up one thing, but I didn't look up the 82%. So I apologize for that. But I want to repeat it for whatever reason, only because when I get an idea or something comes to me, then it's somebody on the other side of the screen that needs it. And I'm just saying to you, so it's a lot going on. People having fun. Now, I'm not knocking whatever the fun is, fun. But have some sense about it in terms of protection. That's what who am I? I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but I am I do have a clarion call to just ask people to be mindful. A clarion call to be mindful, because we're going into a fun weekend, and we've had a fun weekend, and we're going into the holidays, and it can be depressing, and you just fall into a situation. If you're grown, you have fallen into some situations, and you've gotten been blessed to not have the situation. But if you've grown and over 40, you've fallen into some situations, and you have some situationships going on. And so and right now, with the way the economy is going, you may be beating up yourself, or just feeling like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, don't lose the wits about you. I still believe in prayer. Dewey Smith, is that his name, Reverend Dewey Smith? I wanted to do one of his songs one day, but I think it's a copyright. It's a copyright thing. Uh, Look Where He Brought Me From. That's one. I think I do that. I think that's the song. I think about. Think about something else. Think about, if you can, look where you were. Look at some of the things that happened to you in the past, and look how God has brought you to where you are today. And He didn't bring you this far to leave you. You know, and I've had to say that to myself. I've had to say, Lord, I know you didn't bring me this far to leave me. And I just have to get on up and figure out something else. Let me tell you something, people. You got to get up and figure out something else. And it's not always the sensation of getting your groove on that's going to get the answer for you. It might make you feel better. You feel great, but that doesn't give you the answer. And so my thing is, keep your wits about yourself, and remember to use protection. That's whatever if you got to, then remember that, because there's a lot going on out here, and you don't want to be in the midst of all the evil that's going on, and the wrongdoing that's going on, and the loss of jobs, the loss of benefits for people, and the loss of insurance, and then you talk about losing your you done lost your mind to a point where you about to lose your life. Don't do that. Take a minute. Take a pause and get a grip on yourself. People are depressed. I've had 2 or 3 people tell me how depressed they are, and I've had to speak with them, not as a counselor, because I'm not. I'm encouraging people to find counselors, and maybe I think they have them on the internet. You can call up some people. I talked to my social worker last time I went to the doctor, because it's as high as I am on life. I got this aging thing going on. I got these whole looks things going on, which is crazy. And so I have to talk to myself. I don't know about you. I got some friends who wants to be on a cane. I got me some shoes to help me off the cane. I have a girlfriend in Chicago sending me something. It's supposed to help me with my feet, so maybe I won't have to use a cane anymore. But you get to a point, you've been tall and statuesque and able to get around and flash dance and etc. And then all of a sudden all that fades away, and you can't walk through the house without holding on. Got all kind of issues going on with your body. Had surgery as much as I've had surgery. You got cancer lurking on the left and the right. You've been through it 3 times, and somebody just sitting there waiting with the microscopic things. They just tell you got it again. I mean, it's just all kind of crazy stuff going on. You got somebody that tore down the White House. Who ever heard about tearing down a building that I think it was, and that building is supposed to be you can renovate on the inside. I think you can add, but I don't know if you could tear down the building. It's some kind of registrar, a national registry that the White House is on, and you done tore down the building. You could do anything you want. Our money is gonna give you $230 million of my money. It's gonna go and give it to you. You let people out of jail. It's enough reason for you to say, "Oh my goodness, where the brother at? Where the sister at?" I get it. I get it. I have been 40, been 50. But you gotta have some. You gotta keep some wits about you, and be glad that the Lord is still on your side. Because He will protect you. How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? You get in a situationship, and He will get you out of it, and you didn't even know you needed to get out of it. You see, and some of these relationships, situationships, and then people giving their husbands and wives HIV. What in the world? And then this same woman talk about the new thing, trisomes, threesomes, fivesomes, eightsomes. What? Some, as much as I would think I would want to be young again, not during these times. I'm cool with going on being 83. I am. And I've heard some people say they glad they made it through because these we got a lot to do for our young people to get them through these times. And I'm sure our age group when we came through, so I came through the liquor group. Then after that was the weed group. But my group had heroin, but didn't nobody know about it. I was only certain people. I was way back. I'm sure. And then they had cocaine later, but mostly had liquor. My group was the liquor group. And I'm sure it was some older person back there thinking about how we will all be liquor heads, and we turned out all right, you know. But then now they got the weed, and it's beyond that, um, pills, and it's just beyond that. How do you hold a family and children together? I don't know. And people got technology. We didn't have technology. I learned to type on a typewriter, and I learned shorthand, and that was the best thing that could have happened to me. But I'm glad that they have a new technology. I'm all in it myself, as you know. I'm for new technology, but I just don't know how we would have made it. I don't know how I would have made it. So I look back on it, and I guess I would have been all right because I'm all right now. But I just want to talk to you just a little bit about this protection and being careful of this weekend and every weekend. And don't fall in the trap of being unhappy because you make yourself happy. He or she is not in the world to make you happy, and he or she are not going to make you happy. You know, it's not going to happen. That's not the way life is. You make you happy. It's that joy you want. The joy comes from the Lord. That's the difference. That joy, can't nobody take it away. Can't nobody give it to you. It only comes from above. And that's what you want to look for. You want to look for that joy. And quit blaming other people for your unhappiness. You bought into some of that. You agreed with your own unhappiness. I can talk about this because I did the same thing. I know what I'm talking about. I've been there, done that. Where and pretended that other people were making me happy when in fact I was buying into somebody else's dream, somebody else's drummer. Listen to your own drummer. Listen to your own beat. Whatever that is that's bothering you, get some help for it then. Be careful who you talk with though. Because I made a mistake. I told you don't tell, what was the word? I had another word. When you are telling your truths and you're spilling all your heart to somebody. Being vulnerable, yeah. Vulnerability. You really want somebody that you can do that with. And you find out later it's not everybody. And so I don't have a solution. I just can get you to thinking about yourself. Um, if I had a solution, that alone would make me a millionaire. Just one book like that. So what I got here are signposts, little nuggets for you to think about as you move through this journey called life. There are ups and downs every day, but this sexual thing, you can control that. That's you. That's not this person, not that person. It's you have to control that, and you have to control what goes on with it in terms of the protection. Um, if it's not true, I'm hoping it's not true. The 20,000 people tested HIV in the city of Atlanta, that cannot be true. I'm not going to believe it. I couldn't find it anywhere. I fact checked it and I just don't believe it. But if it's 20 or 2, it's too many. It's too many. And one of the reasons why they talked about HIV was on the rise didn't have anything to do with the sexual encounter, but more had something to do with not having funding to make sure that people got the information to be able to counter it and or examine. There was no funding, medical funding, advertisement funding, conference funding. None of that was available, and so that had an impact on the HIV numbers globally. You all may hear music in the background. I always have music. I don't have a show without music, noise, something. But if you do, just go along with it. Yes, it's okay. But I want you to understand this is this is a rough time in America, but all levels. And because of that, let us just try to figure out. Let's try to figure out. Not try. I don't use that word. Work on listening to God and work on listening more to yourself and work on being a little selfish. You know, I know you don't want to be selfish, but I think you need to take a selfish road right now and say, you know what? I need to see about me. I need to stay in my lane. I need to get me some things that I'm going to be doing. I need to get those things done. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. And I promise you, the day would follow night, as my mother says, and night follows day. I mean, who knew 10 years ago that the ballerina, I didn't even know it was 10 years ago. Looked like it was just yesterday with Mitzi Copeland. Don't you think sometimes something was just yesterday and you look back over your life and it was 10, 15 years ago? And so it's the same thing with this thing right here. We're going through a crisis. It can't, nothing lasts forever. Although I think the person who I think somebody thinks that they are going to be the president forever. That things are in place like I don't have to do all this because I'm gonna be here forever. And I don't that's not realistic in America. I don't believe so. I did take a civics class somewhere along the way, and we did have three branches of government. And right now, we're not operating on them, but I will say kudos to Harvard because they are offering free classes where you can study civics and government free of charge. If you want a certificate, you may have to pay something. But I'm going to recommend people take those free classes. And so you would know what is going on. It's not correct. If just in case you've forgotten some of this, there's a free class at Harvard to remind you of the Declaration of Independence and what it means. You know that the Declaration of Independence that we have, finally, that somebody did say, finally it got put in the congressional record that the Declaration of Independence was based on much of the Iroquois. The Iroquois had their own federation, and very well done. I've taught that at Clark Atlanta University about the Iroquois. And so the Iroquois Federation had a wonderful way of running their countries. There was five tribes, and so they didn't have it on paper. They have it in a wampum beads, and the beads told how to operate the country, and you could read the beads, you see. And so Benjamin Franklin was friends with many of the people in Seneca. He knew a lot of the people in Philadelphia. I'm sorry. He was friends with the population, the Iroquois, and so they taught him a lot, and he was able to share that with the founding fathers. And so the founding fathers, they all got together with the different tribes, and they liked what they heard, and they were also making a constitution in the United States because what was happening in Britain. And so to this day, they finally said, yeah, we did copy some of it. And so I'm glad of that. I just want to share that little history moment with you all. As we move through what is happening in Washington, get a hold of a history book. Get somebody to help you with the Constitution. And let's look at all of that. But but once you see what's going on and you see how it's been done, don't forget to get back in your own lane and get in that lane and work on something good for you. Joy does come in the morning. Weeping may last, but joy comes in the morning. Now I know Wayne McMillan gonna look that up and get the right verse for me. I love you, Wayne, for all you do when you keep me in check. But I love you, everybody, more. I do. Now you know to love you more than Wayne, that's some loving going on. I don't know I'm going to say I'm going to love you more than Wayne. I love you. I love you as much as I love Wayne McMillan. How about that? And so I want you all to know that have a good weekend. We're not there yet. Tomorrow I'm going to have a surprise. I hope to have a surprise show for you tomorrow. So I'm saying have a good weekend tonight. When Friday comes in the AUC for the homecoming, you know it's live and living color. I've been young. I have been young, and I've enjoyed all the homecoming. See, when we did homecoming, we had a parade down Hunt Street. We had Miss Maroon and White and all that was going on. I mean, and then you wore heels to the game. You know, Spelman women, there was a time when Spelman women had, there was a time when Spelman women, you knew a Spelman woman. You knew what she looked like. I mean, you know, we were still who we were. But that was we had our own thing. Like we were proud of the fact that we were Spelman women. And not to say that Clark College and Morris Brown women weren't proud of themselves, but I'm just talking about what I know about how we looked and how we carried ourselves and how we wore heels. And even when we marched, when I marched for and demonstrated and held that placard with a man burned me on my arm, we looked a certain way. It was just a part of the Spelman way. And so, you know, there's some, I want us to maintain some of that as young women in the AUC period. They're so busy hating on us that I don't want them to hate on us and then they say, oh yeah, they look like anybody else. No, we do not. And I know you all don't care about that, but I just want, it's something different about us. We're the HBCU, the AU Center. We're classy and we're brilliant and we're smart and we're all about that excellence. We're all about that excellence. I write that on my students' paper. You need to give me some CAU excellence. You need to give me some Spelman excellence. You need to give me some Morehouse excellence. You need to give me some Morris Brown excellence. You need to give me some ITC excellence. Because they're all worried about us out there. Let's bomb them. Let's do, I need you to stay on point. I need you to hear what I say about that HIV. And I need you to pay attention. And you pay attention. Pay attention. And don't get so carried away when all this is going on up there that you lose sight of what God has for you. I love you. And you can't do anything about it.